Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we decide who will be remaining here in the playoffs with the 12 drivers that will advance after today's episode here at the Charlotte Roval. But first we have the Truck Series in Las Vegas. We had Bob Ross in the truck. Yes, a subscriber put their name down as Bob Ross and he was picked for this race as it came through turns 1 and turns 2. Starting in the 10th position, Bob Ross would try to move his way forwards as quickly as he could, and sure enough he had a lot of speed actually throughout this race, because as he came towards the final lap, he had gotten up to P3, battling for the victories. He went down into turns 3 and turns 4 on this final lap, and he would make the move for the lead on this final lap, and Bob Ross would come out of turn 4 looking to get our team's first Truck Series win as he would come through the triangle, and Bob Ross would pick up the victory for us here in Las Vegas. Our first Truck Series victory, and we had Noah Gragson obviously back in the cars, our playoff driver for the Charlotte Roval as he went down through these first few corners. Gragson had fallen down to P3, but he would climb back up into the second position before you knew it, and he would actually be able to close in a little bit on the leaders. It came towards now straight to the final lap, going through the bus stop chicane for the final time here in the Roval. Gragson built up a ton of momentum going down through oval turns 3 and oval turns 4, and he would make a move to the inside of Matt Tiff. Gragson trying to lock himself into the next round here in the Xfinity Series playoffs as he takes the lead into the chicane, and he would come through to win for us here in the Charlotte Roval. That's 2 for 2 today with trucks and Xfinity, so we cut straight through into Cup Series qualifying for myself, going down into the final chicane here through these final few corners, getting very sideways on the exit of the corner, hitting the wall, but we still go P1 on the pole here with a 1:11.605. So let's try to make it 3 for 3 here today at the Roval.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for the running of the Bank of America 400. After today, the playoff field goes from 16 to 12. And for the playoff drivers on the cusp, they'll have to fight to stay alive on the most unique track in NASCAR, the Charlotte Roval. The Roval combines an infield road course segment with the traditional 1.5-mile oval, creating a 2.28-mile, 17-turn test of racing knowledge and skill. Are you ready to see if these drivers can pass this test? NASCAR Playoff Racing is next on PRN.
All right, we're ready to go green here for the Bank of America Roval 400 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 12 drivers will advance into this next round. 3 of them already locked in. Myself, Kevin Harvick, and Brad Keselowski, I believe it is, are all locked into this round of 12 now as we get ready to lead the way. As you saw, Haley Deegan was struggling in practice. She's starting at the back of the field now as we get ready to go green here for the final race of the round of 16 as the green flag is out, starting from P1 here with Jamie McMurray on our outside as we go down towards turns 1 for the first time here at the Roval. We have won at this track in the past. We've had some second place finishes, including last season here. As we go down through these first few corners, McMurray keeps his nose on the outside as we head down in towards this third corner, side by side with McMurray. Jones lurking in the back now as we come through on the exit of this right-hander. We get sideways though, and side by side with McMurray we make contact, and that allows Eric Jones to get clear for the lead as McMurray would come through to take P2, and we drop down to P3 as Kyle Busch now sticks his nose on the outside, or the right-hand side, and we make a little bit of contact with him as we go down through this left-hander. We do hold Busch off, but drop down to the third position after starting on pole here in the Charlotte Roval. As I came out, I think it was turn 4, I just came out of the corner and got very sideways, side by side with McMurray. A little bit on me. I was just trying to get going as quick as possible to have the advantage over McMurray, but now as you head down this back straightaway, we know that the bus stop here is our biggest opportunity to make up a ton of ground. We can make up well over a second in this bus stop chicane. You're going to see me throughout the race though, playing it pretty safe now as there's trouble behind though, and Kevin Harvick goes spinning through the bus stop, and that's going to bring out a caution. So this groups us all back up. Kevin Harvick doesn't have to worry because he's already locked into the next round on points. So no worries for him as we get ready to restart here in Stage 1 and the Charlotte Roval from P3. It'll only be 2 laps to go. Obviously, Stage 1 and 2 are very short, and then the third stage is pretty long now as we go up the inside here of the 40 of Jamie McMurray as we go down into turns 1. And something I struggle at quite a bit here at the Roval is my turn 1 on restarts. We usually give up a lot of positions, especially when we're starting in P1. We can never seem to hold on to the lead, but there we go, making up a position over Jamie Jamie McMurray climbing up into second place behind Eric Jones there in the 20s to come through straight to the final lap of the second stage. He had stretched out the gap a little bit more now as we come through the oval turns 1 and turns 2. Jamie McMurray closing on my back bumper as we went down this back straightaway for the final time here in this first stage. But Jones has run a great first stage, and it's going to show as he is well ahead of me as we go down into oval turns 3 and turns 4 for this final time here in this first stage. McMurray lurking back there in P3, but Eric Jones is going to come through this final few corners in the chicane, and he will get the stage victory as we come through to get P2. We close up a lot on him in those final few corners, but not quite close enough there as we do get second place. So Eric Jones picks up another playoff point, and there you see Martin Truex Jr., our rival, just outside of the top 10. Now is McMurray, I might be the only playoff driver, no, Eric Almirola is the other playoff driver that's in the top 10, but we would not pit for anything, so we would come out here in second place as we get ready to start the second stage here in the Charlotte Roval. Eric Jones and myself on the front row now as the green flag is out, and we are back underway here at the Roval. 5 laps once again here in stage 2 as we go down towards turns 1. We send it in a little bit deep there trying to fight with Jones, and now I make it a bit of a mistake, barely touching the wall, and now McMurray looks to my left hand side as we exit turn 2, heading down towards turns 3 on the right hand side of McMurray. We do get clear of him and hold on to the second position as we come through turns 4 on the exit of the corner, heading down this short little straightaway. I love this section of the track, and usually though we actually tend to lose some time to the AI through my favorite part of the track now as we come through these next sets of corners now into the left-hander, approaching the oval portion of the course. Eric Jones certainly showing some speed here today at the Roval, so we might have a contender with us as we come through the oval turns 1 and turns 2. McMurray continuing to run in that third position, so it looks like myself and Jones and McMurray are the 3 strongest cars right now of the field as we go down towards this bus stop. Like I said earlier, we're going to play it pretty safe going through this bus stop until we get towards the end of this race, and we're going to start risking, especially if we get behind now as we go down through turns 3 on the oval portion of the course, heading down towards the final chicane. But we would continue to run in P2 behind Eric Jones as we come through now on lap 3 of the second stage, approaching just 2 to go at this point. We were continuing to stick with Jones at least, but we just was, like I said, I wasn't being too aggressive here. We're already locked in, so we're not going to play or do something stupid to a driver that's not locked in to this next round now as we come through at this point on the final lap actually of the second stage as we come through this first sector of the course, heading down through the right hand as Jamie McMurray continued to run P3, but it was just myself and Jones. McMurray had enough speed to keep us within range that if we got together, he would definitely be able to pounce now as we come through, heading back onto the oval portion of the course here on this final lap in stage 2. This is where Eric Jones can really pull away, and this is what we're going to have to remember for the final stage, but he doesn't pull away as much as I expected, so we're within range that if we nail this bus stop, we might be able to steal the stage victory from him as we head down this back straightaway towards the bus stop here for the final time in stage 2. Not a great entrance for Jones. We have a pretty solid exit, and now we have the run on Eric Jones through oval turns 3 and turns 4 on his back bumper, now kind of pushing him through the corner as we almost get onto the apron, but we bounce it back up the track, heading down towards the final few corners here in the second stage, right on the back bumper of Eric Jones. Now as we're going to look to the left hand side by side at the line, but Eric Jones edges us out and holds on to the stage victory here at the Roval for stage 2 and picks up another playoff point as Kevin Harvick would round out the top 10 as our rival Martin Truex Jr. just outside of the top 10 there in P12, but as I think it was also Blaney in P11. So great result for Jones and myself, again 1-2 in both stages, so certainly both of us look very strong, as well as Damian McMurray. We pit for 2 cans of fuel and no tires, and obviously we would just throw the repairs on because it doesn't matter if it's 0 seconds. We would come out in P1. We actually gained a position on pit stops as Eric Jones maybe did a repair or something, picking up some type of damage, but we will lead the way here for the start of the third and the final stage now as the green flag is back out, and now we are ready to determine the 12 drivers that will remain in the playoffs after today. Now as we go down into turns 1, Jones gets a much better launch than me on the exit of turn 1, and he will clear us for the lead. Like I said earlier, we just can never seem to get the restarts right when we lead going into turns 1. I seem to just play it too easy. I thought I actually went into turns 1 pretty hard, but unfortunately I was clearly wrong that time as we lost the lead to Eric Jones as we head down the straightaway. I wasn't terribly concerned at this point because it was pretty clear that we have a car that is capable of competing with Eric Jones for this lead and for this victory. As we actually get into his back bumper, a little bit sideways there for Jones, but he keeps it clean now as he came through to complete this first lap of this third and final stage. He had actually gapped me just a little bit as we went down towards turns 1, and now as we come through on lap 18, heading through the oval turns 1 and turns 2, we had actually pulled away from Elliott and McMurray, but the caution would come out here as we were just about a lap and a half or so into this stage. And it was Ty Dillon who brought out the caution, a driver in the playoffs on the outside looking in. That will end his playoff chances now as a green flag is back out here at the Charlotte Roval. Only 9 laps to go at this point as Elliott had moved up into P3, passing McMurray's. We look up the outside of Jones into turns 1, but unfortunately unable to make anything happen, almost getting into the wall there on the exit of the first turn. Now as we go through turns 2, our teammate Elliott looking to the left-hand side as he is in a good position right now on points to make it into this round of 12 as we go down in through turns 4 at this point on the exit of the corner, just trying to keep Eric Jones within reach here on these opening moments of this restart as we come through these next few corners. These corners right here always get a little bit tricky. There's very little grip, so you never know what's going to happen. That kind of costed us a chance at victory last season here. Now as we go down in towards the oval portion once again of the course, Elliott trying to put on the pressure, but we are able to hold him off for the position. So now once again it's just between myself and Eric Jones as we come through on lap 23 at this point, just 7 laps to go, continuing to at least stick with him. He would pull away a little bit, but we would be able to reel him back in, as right there is really where he was pulling away. So we held on at least and we were able to keep him within range as we come through. Now 5 laps to go, we're going to do a little quick crank it up here for you guys. So let's go in to crank it up here at the Charlotte Roval. Alright, there was crank it up here at the Roval. Still 5 laps to go at this point as we went down the back straightaway. Jones put a pretty good gap on us as we would go through the bus stop, trying to be just a little bit more aggressive, but not too aggressive at this point. But as we come through on lap 27, just 3 to go at this point, continuing to close in on Jones as we had started playing it a little bit more aggressive at this point. So it was now game on now with myself and Eric Jones as we enter the oval portion of this track, approaching just about a lap and a half to go now as we come through, approaching the final lap here at the Charlotte Roval at this point on the back bumper of Eric Jones as we take the white flag here in the Roval. We're going to look up the inside now of Eric Jones as we go down towards turns 1, and now we're side by side on this final lap here in the Charlotte Roval. Who's going to come out on top between myself and Eric Jones? He stays on my right-hand side as we come through turns 2, now down into the 3rd turn side by side. Still with Eric Jones, none of us is going to give up this position as we come through in turns 4, sideways on the exit of the corner, and into the side of Jones we go. We both keep it straight, but now Jones puts a little bit of a gap between himself and I as we get sideways through these next few corners, trying to stay with him now. Chase Elliott and McMurray, 3rd and 4th as we go down into the left-handers, approaching the oval portion. We know Jones is pulling away, but he is certainly not safe yet because we have the bus stop to our advantage. We know we can still close up on the back bumper of him because we've done it many times before. So I was still very confident as we come through this oval turns 1 and turns 2. 9/10 of a second to myself and Jones. So I know we can definitely still make it happen now as we go down into the bus stop for the final time, going pretty aggressive here, not as hard as I can, but we still close in on the back of Eric Jones. A huge run as we go through the oval turns 3 and turns 4. We look to the apron, and side by side with Eric Jones we go on the exit of the oval turns 4 down towards the final chicane, and we're going to clear Eric Jones through these final few corners, and we're going to come through to steal the victory from Eric Jones.
The flag is in the air, and it belongs to you. Great job, driver.
A thrilling last lap battle there with Eric Jones. It looked like he had gotten away from us after that contact, but we fought back to the bus stop, and I made a move down to the apron to try and get under him. Obviously, there's no rule you're allowed to go down to the apron, so I decided to take the chance and do it. So we got under him and made one heck of a move down towards the final chicane, and took the lead, cleared him into the final chicane there, and we came out of there with the victory. I was a little concerned that I was going to go into the final few corners a little too hard like I did last season and completely lose the race, but this time we made it happen here with the 48 cars. We've won 2 of the first 3 races now in the playoffs, so very strong. It looks like we've got a potential championship winning team this season if we can play our cards right. Obviously, we didn't pick up a lot of playoff points in the regular season, so it's still going to be tough. It's looking like we're going to need to rely on wins at this point now. As you see, the 4 drivers eliminated. It's Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, and Ty Dillon. Denny Hamlin didn't have a win this season, and I don't think Clint Boyer did either. A disappointing season for those two. Austin Dillon, Ty Dillon shouldn't even have been in the playoffs, but we still have Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, and myself from the Hendrick Motorsports team in the playoffs. So looking strong here for Hendrick. Hopefully we can somehow get all 3 cars into the Final Four. That would be pretty cool. But now that will do it for this episode. We will check the playoff grid before we end it, obviously. We're going to see how everything looks. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. As we see now, the playoff grid. We come into the playoffs 14 points to the good. Truex 1.0. It is going to be a very tight battle here for this round of 12. So we are certainly not in a safe position. I'm very excited to get this round of 12 underway. So hopefully we can have a strong run and advance to the round of 8. Round of 12 is going to be the most dangerous round to us. We struggle quite a bit in that round. So we'll see how it goes. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.